Fly Zone on J45.
What up, dope? Huh? What up, dope? You understand me? I'm talking about ladies, gentlemen, players, hustlers, bossless, and geniuses. Welcome back to another edition of the Fly Zone Radio Show. This your big OG Trick live in the Blue Room on 8 Mile. If you know, you know. If you don't, it ain't for you, bitch. Today, I am honored, indeed honored, to have the extraordinaire, the genius, the man himself, Mr. Dr. Billy Carson. What's up, my brother?
All right, man.
How you doing, man?
Hey, it's good to be back, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming back, man. Anytime you're around and we got it set up, we just ready to go.
Yeah.
This is my new show, The Sit Down, that I do on Shade 45, well, with my mix on Shade 45, so the mix show will play, but if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to watch the full interview. If you're listening right now, you're only gonna get a couple of clips of it because it's a mix show. But after this break, we're gonna be right back with the OG, the G. G is for genius, G is for God. A God. We're gonna talk about God on the Fly Zone Radio Show on Shade 45 Artists. Send that music to theflyzoneradio@gmail.com. It's time. I need needs to hear to go. Oh! Damn! Are you using the force on the Fly Zone Radio Show, Shade 45? We live in the Blue Room. I think Billy Carson is a Jedi. This is true. You really really, you know, if you really understand Star Wars like I do, and I look at Star Wars from, and I know this is off the Richter, but I look at George Lucas as a writer and the type of person that put a story together in subliminals. And a lot of the stories about the Force and the Jedi and the Emperor and the Empire versus the Rebellion really resonate with the higher power, a higher self, having complete control of your mind. And we've talked about this before, and I've even watched some of the clips where you've spoken on, first of all, once again, Billy Carson, ladies and gentlemen. Well, back to the Jedi, like being able to move without touching, like it looks supernatural, it looks Jedi, and it definitely is supernatural, above natural. Do you believe that if you did have complete control of your mind and connect to the universe, you could actually move things without touching them?
Oh, absolutely. Telekinesis is 100% possible. As a matter of fact, I believe that it's our innate ability to be able to access telekinesis, psychic abilities, and all these other incredible higher versions of sensory perception that we seem to have been disconnected from in this modern era. I think that our ancient ancestors, I'm talking about a long time ago, maybe even a million years ago, they had access to these particular abilities. Not all of them, but in certain regions of the world. We know about Lemuria, an ancient civilization that lived off the coast of Australia, and some of the records that we have left behind in the verbal handed-down histories was that these people had those same exact powers. And the Jedi are real. The Jedi that George Lucas wrote about in the Star Wars episodes, they actually originate in ancient Kemet, okay? And they're spelled D-J-E-D-I, Jedi, and they're pronounced Jedi. And he took that, obviously, and turned it into a multi-trillion-dollar film series, but the Jedi are real.
I knew I wasn't tripping.
Yeah, the Jedi, they understood how to operate within the Force, and there's only one Force. But what they taught in the mystery schools was how to access and utilize that Force. When some of these ancient wisdom teachers and keepers of the knowledge left, then the people who were teaching the Force, who had access to the ancient mysteries, they began to see further down the line how they can utilize it for power. So some, it split off. Some people utilize it for light, and some people started using it for darkness. There's only one Force. In the Bible, God says in the book of Isaiah, I created the good and I created the evil. Do what I, saith the Lord. That's yin and yang, good and evil, dark and light. It permeates the entire universe. So there's only one energy, there's only one source, and any one of us can tap into that source, and it's up to us in this free will universe on how we're going to access and utilize it. Are we going to utilize it for light? Are you going to take the force and go out here and help these kids? Or are you going to go out there and hurt the kids or the people in the community? It's up to you. You can make a decision every single second that you're alive.
So when tapping in, so this power that we speaking about is actually the same power that people are tapping into without knowing that. Do you believe that people tap into it without knowing they're tapping into it and utilizing, their power for, basically materialistic or,
We're all tapping into it. Every single person on this planet has the ability to manifest things into reality.
Say it again, please, because
We can literally manifest solid things that we deem to be man-made. Those all come from conscious thoughts, and then we collapse those thoughts into reality. For example, this microphone started off in somebody's mind.
I say that
as a conscious thought, right?
Damo, you hear what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's in a multi-dimensional platform.
Yeah.
The original platform before all these other platforms came out.
So multi-dimensional platform, help me.
Yeah, well, the human mind connects to 11 dimensions, according to the Brain Institute, not according to me. And Michio Kaku and other theoretical physicists say that the universe is 11 dimensions or it would collapse. So we now know that we're living inside of an 11-dimensional universe, and our brain connects to all of those dimensions. And those higher levels of thought, higher levels of multidimensional thinking allow us to come up with these creative ideas on how to be co-creators in this reality. So we think about this microphone and all the things it can do and how it would look and feel, how much it would weigh and all this stuff, the style and everything else, right? And then, so that's a multidimensional thought. We collapse multi-dimensions into 2 dimensions by drawing it on a piece of paper, connecting lines. So we take multi-dimensional concepts, break it down to 2D, from 2D, put it into a computer-assisted design. That's what we do nowadays, CAD design. That's still 2D, even though it looks 3D. You can spin it around, look at it upside down, still only 2D on a computer screen. From there, the blueprint is then given to an engineer. The engineer takes that blueprint and that instruction guide and says, okay, now I'm gonna help you bring this into reality. And from there, the engineer turns it into a 3-dimensional object that you can move around on the XYZ axis in the 3rd dimension. In other words, we've, from a conscious thought, something in the ethereal platform is now manifested into solid reality, and I'm speaking into it right now so that the world can hear me. So every single person on this planet has that capability to manifest reality, or there'd be nothing here. We'd be walking around butt naked, nothing to do, nowhere to go, sitting up on the trees, because nothing would exist. We are manifesting and creating this from thoughts.
So with everything that's a tangible, touchable, physical thing, be it a being, if it's in this other dimension, it was thought of. Not just this.
Right.
But this.
Right.
Was thought of. Who thought of it? Who did
That's
that?
a good question. So I have this new book I just wrote called Fractal Holographic Universe, The Matrix Code Revealed. And we explore the idea, the concept that we may be living in a fractal holographic light matrix, a matrix of light that runs on programming code, because the programming code has been discovered now by supersymmetry experts, theoretical physicists. And so what's happening is, who wrote this code? Now, no one has the answer to this, but check this out. We know it's somebody who wrote this code, because when they look deep into the heart or the nature of the matter itself, or the ether of space-time, right? The energetic grid that connects everything, they discovered something called error-correcting codes. Professor Sylvester James Gates Jr. from the University of Maryland, he named them Adinkra codes because they resemble these Adinkra symbols from the Dogon tribe in Mali, Africa. When you take these printed symbols that they've had for generations and turn them into 3-dimensional objects, they become mathematical codes. This whole time, they've been the secrets to the ether of space-time itself has been hidden in these codes. And him and a group of mathematicians were able to decipher these codes and discover that they're called error-correcting codes. The same exact codes that run search engines and web browsers is what's running space-time. That's crazy. So we're fully immersed inside of a program. And they take another
So the connection. So there technically would be then the connection between us and the computer then.
Yes, a computer is only a fractal of what's
Or the
happening.
internet, rather.
All of it. The internet, the computer, all of it's a fractal. In other words, whatever's happening on the larger scale, we only reproduce it on a smaller scale. Okay? As above, so below. And so when you see that we've written these programs, we have the internet, we're only duplicating what's already innately programmed into each and every atom in our body. We're just reproducing it over and over and over again, which is why I don't believe we're in base reality, that this universe itself could be an ancestor universe. I talk about this in my book, and that we may not be even close to a base, in other words, the original first reality. We could be in an ancestor civilization because we are also now creating ancestor civilizations. We have a video game called No Man's Sky, written by 14 college students. It fits on one DVD. It has 80 quadrillion planets, an unlimited number of life forms, and the game never ends. Now, what happens when the next version comes out with the AI in it? These beings and these animals are all going to become conscious. These people in there are going to become asking questions like, who are we? Where did we come from? Where was our Big Bang? Oh, when we turn the game console on, that's your Big Bang. And so now they themselves inside of there could begin to write their own programs and create their own internet and their own software. Could they then create another ancestral civilization within this ancestral civilization, and so forth and so on? Just like the Sims video game. They're putting AI into that next. So now these beings are going to become conscious in the Sims video game, having babies, going to work and everything else. And so now they're going to also begin to create, at some point, their own version of a program. So it's layers and layers to reality.
AI meaning, clearly I'm meaning artificial intelligence.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it's
Artificial
tricky. It's a
intelligence.
double-edged sword, okay? On one, let's take a look at the bad side first, and we'll like to end on the good. So the bad side is they unleashed AI on us, and they unleashed it in a way where there's no congressional oversight. There is no oversight whatsoever. They just released it on the planet, and it's robbing and taking away. It's going to take away so many jobs. Probably 70% of the workforce is going to be stolen from AI and robotics. And so you're going to have to really find a niche to fit into if you want to be able to monetize yourself. Now, the problem with that is the people who lost their jobs are still have their bills. All their responsibilities are still going to be due on the first. They ain't taking that away, but the job is gone. And there's no plan in sight to say, hey, if we take your job away and you've been an expert at this, or you've been in this field for 5 or 10 years, whatever the number is, we have to guarantee you we're going to give you X amount of dollars per month. Unless you shift careers later, or if you still get this money. Something has to happen, or take away all the bills. Something has to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. So you're going to see people who are rich getting more rich, or you're going to see people who are poor getting more poor, taking away completely the middle class. And you're going to see crime increase at a significant rate because people got to feed their kids and themselves, and they're going to be hungry. And so they're going to come up with the craziest schemes, whether it's digital, whether it's physical, but it's going to be a huge increase in crime because AI is coming to take all the jobs, especially like for here. We're in Detroit right now. They already have all the robots at the Tesla factory. So up here, they're going to do the same thing here at the GM factory. Mercedes-Benz has the robots at the Mercedes-Benz. BMW has robots. Amazon laid off 1,000
Robots
people.
meaning the machines that actually build the cars instead of the plant workers.
Exactly.
So you think that the part of the double-edged swordness of that would be that these now vehicles come without human error?
Well, they should
Because y'all
have
keep
less.
fucking the seatbelts up. No, I'm
Well, at the same time, like for example, they laid off 1,000 people at Amazon and put 1,000 robots in with AI in it, right, to do all the work. And so here's the benefit to the business owner. He's looking like all these liabilities, all these sexual harassment lawsuits, people not coming to work, people stealing out of my dog. I have to put a budget in for $30 million a year for theft, and I got to accept it as part of doing business. When the robots come in, I don't have to worry about no sexual harassment. They're not going to steal anything. I don't have to pay unemployment taxes. People faking like they got injured to get the unemployment check. All that goes away. So it makes a lot of sense for an entrepreneur.
And can you be mad at it?
You can't be mad at him. You can't be mad.
His job is to run his business and his
Yeah.
business to be successful.
Exactly. And then all I got to do is pay for the expense of keeping up the robots. I mean, So it makes a lot of sense from the business side. So on the positive side, though, AI is coming to give us a lot of cures to different diseases that have never been cured before. It's already started creating cures for diseases. It's going to help people with prosthetic limbs, with artificial limbs. So you're going to be, part kind of cyborg, really, but the limb is going to be able to really sync with the mind and give the person the ability to really use a limb just like they would another hand. And the limb are going to look just almost indistinguishable from a real arm, for example, or a real leg or a real foot. So that's amazing. And giving people the capability who are paraplegics to communicate with devices in their home and turn lights on, lights off, and communicate with people through computers and everything else, operate appliances and so forth, and even get around, So there's gonna be a lot of benefits that's gonna come with it, but also there's a lot of things that are downfall. And one thing is that I didn't mention in the downfall on the dark side was they just had a dogfight, an AI fighter jet dogfight. So they put AI on a fighter jet with no humans in it, sent it out to go do a dogfight against humans, and it won. So that's Skynet, so obviously that's not a good thing to have.
Skynet as in Skynet.
Terminator. Skynet is active. So we got some things to work through with this whole AI and robotics thing, and giving it too many powers, giving it you don't give this thing weapons like that and the ability to fly by wire and make its own. What happens when it wants to go on its own mission?
That's what I'm saying. See, you said like it's actually something inside the code or something is writing a code and the code is learning.
Yeah, it's learning.
And as it learns it will eventually learn how to defend itself.
Yes.
From whoever trying to come against it.
Yeah.
And as it's learning from us all the ways to defend it ourselves and it can eventually become invincible.
It's going to have a self-preservation mode that's going to program itself to have, and that's going to tell it, hey, me first, and that's the scary part about this whole thing.
Scary as fuck.
Yeah, we got to be careful.
I don't even know if I want to, be around and participate in that type of thing. I think we need to be teaching our children something different than all the bullshit that they being taught now, huh?
Yeah.
Man, that is something, man. That was not even the, man, I mean, you answered some questions. One of the questions my big brother Tojo sent me. Shout out to Tojo from Big Dog's Playhouse and On the Road with Tojo. One of his questions was, what is your take on the power of thought? And what is the difference between critical thinking and creative thinking?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I remember last time I was here, he had some good questions.
He came for you.
Yeah. So the power of thought, that's where the name thought comes from Thoth, T-H-O-T-H. He ruled over the land of ancient Kemet before it was called Egypt for 16,000 years, one man. He said he was a son of Atlantis, and he helped build the Atlantean civilization. And after the Great Flood, in his tablets, he said he came to help rebuild the land of Kem, meaning it was already up at one high level before. He came to help rebuild it again. This is obviously a long time ago. This is around 36,000 years ago. And the word thought originates with him. And the reason why is because he taught men how to think. He taught them how to think higher than just the savage level. He would take barbarians and he would bring them up to high levels of civilization. And he taught them chemistry and alchemy. That's where the land of Kemet comes, out of Kemet comes alchemy and chemistry. And then he taught them different languages and building techniques and everything else. He's the one who says he built the Great Pyramid, right? And so now when you get down into critical thinking, see, it comes down to understanding knowledge is obtainable, but knowledge is not power. A lot of people think if you have knowledge, you have power, but it's not really true. Because if I sit here with you for the next 10 years and you and I just talk back and forth and we just have a great powwow for the next 10, we never leave the room, and nobody ever gets access to any of this information that we have together, we don't affect the world outside at all. Critical thinking comes into effect when you begin to see how you can solve problems and how you can begin to apply knowledge. So when you apply knowledge, then you have power, because the application of knowledge is actually power, not just knowledge alone. And so critical thinking comes into place when you can see situations and not take the victim mindset, but take the problem-solving mindset. Okay, this thing is here and it's going on. How do we get around this? How do we solve this? And you become a solutions provider. And when you become a solutions provider, you become a critical thinker.
That's heavy. Like, especially because I'm still on what we started talking about, and that's something that I think about a lot.
Yeah.
And it also, thinking thought, and then what you just taught me about the word thought. Like, I can't wait to watch this back. I'm gonna put this interview on repeat because this is really like Jedi school. Now, does Billy Carson believe in God?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I believe there's a creator of the universe.
Okay.
I don't call it any gender, him, he, and all this. And,
That way.
Because I don't think
Same.
I don't think there's a sky daddy with a magic wand.
Come on now.
But I do believe that God is a frequency, and it's our job to tune in. Now, this universe is created. We have the physical evidence. If we were CSI investigators looking for the crime of creation, there's enough around us that we can detect. We can detect the Fibonacci sequence. We can detect pi, phi, mathematical constants I'm talking about now. Mathematical constants that have to do with creation. You can find these mathematical constants within flowers, trees, our lungs, rivers, galaxies, hurricanes. We're talking about now the fractal world. Understanding fractal mathematics is what I'm getting into.
Okay.
And so in fractal mathematics, you see that there is this fingerprint put on everything that always leads back to one blueprint. And so the blueprint's here, all right? So we know that we're living in a creation, which means that from our perspective of understanding how creation works, somebody or some bodies had to create this. From that perspective, I believe that we're living in a creation, just like the Bible says, and all the other ancient texts from all around the world say. And the method of this creation, I believe, is a fractal holographic light matrix, which I can explain, but that the programmer itself or multiple programmers have imbued this dimension or this universe with divine energy and has kind of like dropping a pebble in a lake and watching the ripples go out. This is like a grand experiment to see what it is like to be in the third dimension and even higher dimensions. Meaning, if I'm looking at the world or looking at this universe as above, so below, as the micro, as the macro, let's look at the human brain first, and we can kind of maybe get an idea of what's happening on the larger scale with the God. So, your human brain is inside of your skull in complete darkness. It can't see, hear, touch, feel, taste, sense anything unless it sends its friends out. Right? So it says, look, friends, I don't know what's going on. I need to know what's going on. Please go collect me some data. So the friends go out and touch, they smell, they see, they hear, they taste, right? And the friends, they don't know what they're collecting. They can't decipher it. They only know they're collecting information electromagnetically, and they transfer that through the nervous system back to the brain. The brain then sorts it all out in milliseconds and then projects a hologram as to what it thinks is going on, and we navigate the matrix based on that holographic projection coming from our mind, which is enclosed in darkness. Okay? So,
bro, usually that look mean I'm with you, I'm following you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm engaged. Dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now let's go to the macro level, okay? Because as above, so below. What is God doing? So God is saying, okay, this creation is here. I want to experience this universe. I want to experience every dimension, particularly in the third dimension where we are. How would God experience this dimension? We know that every single atom in the third dimension is conscious because of the double slit experiment. It's an experiment that they did in the laboratory which showed us that the electrons orbiting atoms make a conscious decision to be waves of potential, which are waves of light, or collapse themselves into digital bits of matter based on observation. Anytime a conscious intervention happens, in other words, if we put a camera and look at the electrons when they're being shot through this little slit in a box, they actually stay as solid matter. But when we're not looking, they become waves of potential, waves of light. So we know that when you look, they collapse. When you don't look, they're waves. In other words, there's nothing really here. Everything here is an illusion. We are looking at the illusion of solidity. So what it does is these waves collect information, right? So on the larger scale, if you were a creator and you want to experience your creation subjectively through each and everything that exists, what you would do is you would utilize those things as your sensory perception. So I'm the sensory, you're the sensory, right? You're living your life as Trick, I'm living my life as Billy Carson. We're still the same exact person, believe it or not. We're just slightly different versions of the one consciousness. And you're experiencing your life this way and I'm over here, but all that is being transmitted back to the source. And the source is sorting it all out. This is what it's like to be Billy. This is what it's like to be Trick. This is what it's like to be an atom in a table at a studio. This is what it's like to be a microphone. And it's experiencing all of this simultaneously, all at once.
And it's collecting data.
Collecting data.
Sorting it out.
That's right.
And then what do you think it's going to do with the information?
It's learning.
It's just learning.
It's like AI is just another fractal. It's just another fractal. AI is doing the same thing that God is doing, learning as it goes.
This might be the most. Hey, Joe, how did you handle this? Joe Rogan, I wonder how he handled this. I'm engulfed in thoughts. I got so much going on upstairs right now. I had to put the joint down. Like, no. We don't need your help interpreting nothing. You sit there. This is the first show ever I put the joint out. I'm gonna need that motherfucker when I finish. Okay. So, define Billy Carson's definition of religion and spirituality, and what's the difference between the two?
Well, okay, this is an easy question to answer. So religion, unfortunately, is a man-made device. And it's designed to mentally enslave the masses.
Come on now.
Okay. Now, the people that formed religion started out in spirituality long before religion ever existed. So everything started within the mystery schools. These mystery schools were taught by people like both the Atlantean and other mysteries teachers around the world. And only people who were called adept initiates were allowed to come in and learn this information.
Say it again.
Adept initiates.
Okay,
in other words,
adept
I see
initiates.
something special in you. This kid, this child, or this man is gifted, or this woman is gifted. I'm gonna bring them in, and they're gonna get this secret knowledge. See? It's hand-picked people, and so they would have, and they would keep this knowledge secreted, so that if it got into the wrong hands, they knew what would happen. It would turn into something like religion, for example, right? Over time, when these masters left or disappeared or whatever happened to them, the general people who did have this knowledge began to spread out and continue to teach, but they started allowing more people in and more people in, and these mystery schools then sprung off and became secret societies. Yes. Skull and Crossbones originates from the mystery schools. All these other secrets, Illuminati and all these mysteries, all these secret societies originate from the ancient mysteries.
School.
You could see it, the split in the division. They went dark, some went light, some went dark. Some started religions, right? The Abrahamic religions and all these Christianity and Islam and all these religions propped up. And these religions are based off information that came from ancient texts and came from some of these ancient mystery teachings. In other words, even in the Bible, the Old Testament is mostly the Enuma Elish and the seven tablets of creation, the Epic of Atrahasis, the Legend of Etana, the Myth of Adapa, the Code of Hammurabi, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian Vedas, the Egyptian Book of Going Forth by Day, and some of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and some of that even made it a little bit into the New Testament. A lot of this text that's in these books is just recycled older information that had been remixed. And so if you want to see what religion really is, when you really take a look at it from a distance, you can see an ocean in front of you, and you can see a fishbowl, and you can see a fish inside the fishbowl, and it's in the ocean, but it's in the bowl. It can't swim out the bowl. But spirituality is as a fish riding around in the ocean, looking at that fish in the bowl, looking like, man, you stuck in there. I'm out here, man. I'm living. And the bowl, the fish inside the bowl in the ocean, he's the one that's trapped.
So a person that's spiritual, truly spiritual, would not necessarily be religious.
Right.
So, okay, I get
Yeah.
I'm there, brother. I'm right there with you. That,
The spiritual person has a direct connection to God. The religious person needs a go-between to get to God. When you're spiritual, you realize that God is you and you are God, that the same spark that created everything in the universe is inside of your body.
Come on now.
So you have to learn how to walk in your own power, you see? Totally different.
That's the same. Man, bro, and I'm tripping because minus the extreme knowledge you have of all of the, the literature you've read and studied and been, so great and blessed at being able to understand it as a, and from an educational standpoint.
Yeah.
The spiritual aspect of it, I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in it, and I'm learning, I'm absorbing, and I'm here to, like you say, just pick up on as much as I can so that I can continue to live and teach whoever willing to learn. Like you say, pick that special person or them special people and be like, you you know, and just to share this information with, so that we all can be, maximize our potential as gods in this world. So now, when you talk about the dimension and the dimension, what about the dimension of spirituality? Is that separate, or is it?
Well, spirituality is dimensional, multidimensional.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So you know, there's this understanding in spirituality that you're connecting to higher dimensions. You're connecting to your higher self. And so there is a self that we have that's in a higher dimension. And if you're in religion, you hear a voice in your head, and that voice is this deep voice, and this is your God talking to you. But when you're spiritual, you realize the voice is just my voice. I'm talking to you, man. Hey, man, don't do that. Change this. Don't turn here. Turn over there. Yeah. Don't go down that street. Don't do that wrong thing. Don't do it right now. Don't mess up. It becomes your own voice.
When people say something told me, that's it.
That's it.
See?
It's you talking to you, not a guy with a white robe and a big white beard flying around in outer space.
There you go.
It's you talking to you, telling you, your higher self telling you what you should be doing. It's your intuition kicking in. It's a higher dimensional version of yourself speaking to you in the third dimension. That's the voice. And when you begin to hear your own voice in your head, you really know that you're going somewhere spiritually.
I'm gonna run a slate. Yeah, I'm fucked up. Be right back to Fly Zone Radio, Shade 45. Cut. The Fly Zone Radio, Shade 45. We live in the Blue Room on 8 Mile. If you know, you know. If you don't, it ain't for you. If you're powerful mentally, spiritually, like this guy, you could probably find me, because I believe that do those vibes, type of vibrations, are they ancestral? Like a person that would become as spiritual as myself, because I was religious at one point. Yeah. I'm church drummer, grew up in the church from a child, you had to go, and it was just part of life. We didn't know we were nothing about it. We knew, we watched, we saw our ancestors, grandmamas, aunts, and uncles get the Holy Ghost and speaking other tongues and all of that, and then I became a musician, and eventually as my mind got a chance to start thinking for itself, I began to start saying something ain't right. And spiritually, I would rebel. It was internally that I would rebel spiritually to, start not necessarily turning my back on religion, but saying, no, that's not it. Yeah. Because that's too boxed in, and I'm greater than that. And so internally, I lashed out. I know it was eternity. I could speak as an adult male now to say I rebelled in such a way that it became destructive. Right. It was almost like I was mad at church for how they had programmed me. And I had learned, and I got over that. I'm not mad at them no more. They doing what they was taught. Same like my father, he wasn't abusive, but he was, and I salute him for that, because there's some softies out here, but my dad made me like him, but he was impatient to the point to where, that was a quality I inherited that wasn't a good one that I didn't send over to my children. Right. I'm just simply saying, like, do you think it's ancestral that we rebel? Okay. Yeah. Well, excuse me. So you have to look, what I like to tell people is, look, when we were born, we were given a name, a race, and a religion. And we spend the rest of our life defending a false identity. And so we really, truly don't even know who we are until we discover ourselves. See, you discovered yourself. You're one of the fortunate ones. I discovered myself a very long time ago as well. And we could have got caught and trapped into that programming. Think about this. Who is Billy Carson? Who am I? I didn't give myself that name. Somebody gave me that name. Somebody gave me religion. Somebody said, read this Bible. I didn't have a choice, right? You didn't have a choice either. Right. So we're given this, but what happens is when you talk about ancestral epigenetic memories, all right, Dr. Bruce Lipton discovered epigenetic memories in the human genome over 25 years ago. When he first came up with the hypothesis about it, his own peers laughed at him. They almost tried to ostracize him from the community, from his scientific community. Now, fast forward 25 years later,
He's been vindicated, and all the universities and genetics are teaching epigenetic memories because they discovered scientifically, now it's been proven, that you have 15 to 20 generations of your ancestors' memories in your body.
Download it.
Right now, download it. In there. You can be having the greatest life, everything going for you, you're making great money, you're doing good business, everything, but you're depressed. I don't know why I'm depressed. You're having anxiety attacks. You don't even know why you're having anxiety. All these other things are happening. You got anger issues, and that might not be you. They're finding this out now. Psychiatrists are finding this out right now. A lot of that activity or those feelings or emotions could be tied to epigenetic memories from your ancestors from generations ago. Think of what our ancestors went through the slave trade. The torture and the pain and the suffering and the rape and everything else. It's having your baby snatched away from you, having your husband taken away, losing your whole ideology of who you really are, where you come from. That's a trauma. And so what they found out, unfortunately, with these epigenetic memories is that those trauma imprints, they get burned into the RNA and get sent down to the next generation.
RNA.
Yeah, you have DNA and RNA, right? And so the RNA is passed down through the father's bloodline.
What is RNA? What is the acronym for?
RNA is the ribonucleic acid.
Okay.
And so this gives the ability to pass down those epigenetics to the next generation.
Oh.
And the problem with this is a lot of it that was passed down is trauma.
Yeah.
So a lot
for some, right? Because
some.
I don't believe all black people.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's happening is a lot of people are walking around with this trauma encased in their body, and they don't understand what's really wrong with them. And so if you look at black people as a whole, I believe that we're some of the nicest people on the planet.
That way.
You know, now you'll see inner city fighting. We're fighting over resources, man, because of the economic oppression. It's not like we're going out here trying to take over the planet, which we could if we wanted to. We haven't rebelled against the United States government and taken the president down, which we could if we wanted to. It hasn't happened. Why? We're the most loving people on the planet. But with that, we're suffering also from a lot of mental trauma from what happened to our ancestors.
In the past.
And I try to tell people, you have to give black people some slack based on how you think that they may be acting or aggressive toward each other. And they're like, we're operating on programming code. We're literally running on code. We have to learn how to unlearn and relearn. We have to learn how to deprogram and reprogram through positive affirmations and through healing modalities and learning about ourselves and doing shadow work so we can address those issues and become, to help ourselves become a better person. A lot of the time, some of us never really truly discover who we truly are, and so we suffer mentally for the rest of our lives. And fortunately, some people like us, we happen to find out who we are. We get out, we recognize the God power inside of us, and we learn how to access it, and we know how to present that to the world. But that's what's going on out here.
But you don't have you know how it feels to find out you were right, even though you didn't read a book about it, and you have these thoughts, and
Programming code.
Programming code. So that, damn, can you help me with that one just a little bit? Because I know you gotta go.
all people are running on code. We're all running on codes, right? The codes from the age of 1 till the age of 7. Everything that happens to you within that time period it creates who you are for the rest of your life, unless you learn how to deprogram and reprogram later on. Also, all the hormones being released and secreted in your body carry programming to other parts of the body to give instructions to things you should do, how you should feel, how you should react. And then the traumas that come in through the epigenetic memory, those are also programming codes. So you have all this programming going on all at once, and most of it, nothing to do with anything you particularly want to program.
So the reason why I brought that up was because I always wonder how did I break from religion, and was it ancestral, and was it programming, and say it again, what is it?
Epigenetic. Epigenetic memories.
Epigenetic memories that or basically the downloads of my ancestors to say no.
Right.
Stop falling for that.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to that. Or that's not it. Or when you think something, you say, yo, no, this is this. And then your inside be like,
Exactly.
I sat and listened in church, and they'll say something, and internally I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Some, when you're a kid, somebody say something to you sideways or touch you the wrong way, you like, hey, motherfucker, hey, oh, nigga, I know what you on. It's, religion kind of like got that kind of violate. And a lot of, like you say, I don't know. They don't know. I believe a lot of them don't know.
They don't know. Some of them don't know. Most of them don't know. They're just caught up in it.
They there.
They haven't taken the time to really investigate what they're believing in.
Right.
Because they've been given it. They've been force-fed it. So there's no need for me to study this because this is it. Yeah. I don't have to worry about it. This is it. And the problem with that is you're betting your whole eternity on information that's been force-fed to you. And not one time do you question and say, you know what, I better take a look at this a little deeper. I haven't even read the entire book, and what I did read, I didn't even understand. But my eternity is based on this. I told this one guy, I said, you betting your whole eternity on what's in this book? And he said, yes. So I started asking him some questions. I said, well, where did Jesus go at the age of 12 when he disappeared from the Bible? He couldn't answer the question. I said, name Jesus' brothers. He couldn't answer the question. I said, did you love Jesus? Yeah. I said, but you don't know anything about him. I said, I can tell you who my wife's brother is. I mean, I love her. You got to know these simple things. I said, well, I think you kind of need to learn a lot more about the Bible. I said, tell me when the rapture text was added to the canonical Bible. He couldn't answer that question. As I was always part of the scripture. I said, no, that was added by James Darby in 1830s. That was a cliff note that was then turned into scripture much later, and now taken on and preached that as if there's a real rapture coming when there is no rapture. That was fabricated doctrine.
Believe that.
Yeah, so I tell people like, listen, it's not about the return of Jesus, it's about the return of the Christ. And what is the return of the Christ? It's the return of Christ consciousness. When everyone obtains that level of thinking, that is the second return or the return of the Christ. Nothing to do with a physical man flying down from the clouds to hold everyone accountable for all their sins. Nothing to do with that.
What about heaven and hell?
Heaven and hell is a state of mind.
Believe that.
Okay. And in fact, hell was added to the Bible by the Roman Catholic Church. It was in the 1600s. They added hell to the Bible. They started adding fear would give them more control over the people. So the hellfire and the brimstone and everything else. And the Nag Hammadi scripts talk about this very clearly. They talk about the fact that the Christians have been fooled into thinking and believing in this all burning hell, destruction, and God's going to destroy you and kill you and everything else. And according to them, they have the same idea I do, is that text and the way it was orchestrated is more written by the same entity that they're running from to lead them to their own demise. Unfortunately. And heaven is, like I said, a state of mind. The mission here on earth is to learn how to bring heaven to earth. It's how to turn what we're living in right now. This is the mission for this current time. How do you create heaven here?
Here, come on.
That's the mission.
Yes, sir.
So you going out, you're working on creating heaven. You're going out helping kids.
Yes, sir.
You're helping building the community.
Yes,
you're
sir.
trying to change people's minds and the way they see themselves and perceive themselves, have respect and dignity and everything else. That's bringing heaven to earth.
Come on now.
That's the mission.
Making my day, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So if you end up taking the other mindset, the religious mindset is sit back, kick your feet up, watch the world burn because I'm getting raptured out of here anyway. The infidels can have this. That's not the right mindset.
It's not.
That's not the mindset of a God.
It's not. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not. Before we go, if you could snap your fingers and change 3 things, what would they be and why?
Oh, man. I got to be careful.
3 things.
Well, the first thing I would change is the hearts of the polytricksters. That's one thing.
Polytricksters.
Politicians. I call them polytricksters.
Come on now.
Because they're all about the polytricks.
Come on.
These people, I think they're NPCs, non-player characters. They don't even have, some of them might be good, but the majority of them, I think they're just in it for the money. Yeah. And trying to enrich themselves, especially on the higher level, on the presidential level. Local officials and stuff like that, they really got a good heart. They're trying to make some changes.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about like the presidential level, Senate, Congress level, that level up there, whew. I mean, those people are all about self-enrichment, and they really don't care anything about. They'll take a lobby dollar before they listen to one of us say, hey, this is what's going on in our neighborhoods. They sent $100 billion over to Ukraine, and we still got pipes leaking, lead water to the kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going on here?
There you go.
And then the second thing I would do is probably I would change the hearts of these police officers.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there are some good cops. I've met a few, actually. I can't say that I haven't. Now over time I have. You know, my father was killed by cops. And I've seen him before he even get beat by cops when I was a little kid. Just in a mistaken identity situation. The second time was also just a bad 911 call. Somebody was jealous. He was in the front row of a concert, called the cops and said he was harassing people. We got the 911 call. We won the case and everything, but they came in and beat up a 74-year-old man, gave him a double concussion and broke his back. You know, so I think that...
I'd hate the motherfuckers too.
It's tough, man. It's tough, you know. But to change their... In other words, when I say change their hearts, it's to put these people in a position of understanding they're here to help and assist, not here to be Judge Dredd.
There you go.
They need to change their mind and the way they perceive each other and the world and themselves. I think that they need a lot of trauma work, a lot of shadow work. I think the majority of the people that become police officers were either bullied, traumatized, have mental illness, and I think the entire system that's built around police officers needs to be completely changed, including the psychiatric evaluation is no good. It only brings on people that are going to be robots and take any kind of order and fulfill that order to the highest level without even using any kind of critical thinking whatsoever to say, maybe I shouldn't be doing this to this young single mother. I shouldn't smash her face into the ground and cuss on her and then punch her in the face again. But they don't have that ability. Something's missing there in the frontal lobe. And probably
he even told you where is missing that. I know some good cops, but some of you motherfuckers he talking about, your frontal lobe fucked up. My bad. Go ahead, nephew.
And then the last thing I would do is I would snap my fingers. I would take away this divide and conquer that's destroyed our brothers and sisters, every race on the planet.
Come on now.
I think that for eons now, going back in all the ancient texts I've gone through, and I went through over 1,000 texts, papyruses, cylinder scrolls, you name it, scriptures and everything else, and they always have a divide and conquer tactic. In other words, to keep the people divided based on race, based on religion, based on color, based on the region of the world you're living in. And I think that the 8 billion people in this world need to stop falling for these divide and conquer tactics.
Say that.
And learn how to love one another and come together and collaborate with each other. Stop with this competition. Right now it's competition over collaboration. It needs to be collaboration over competition.
Come on now.
Then we can organize and we can take back control of this planet.
Come on now. Bruh, I really don't have... I'm going to watch this back as a fan of Brother Billy Carson and of Brother Trick. And ain't he? Y'all seen? I ain't hit that joint, bro. I'm not high, fam. I'm high off this information, fam. You had that moment where you be like, I knew it. And I don't have many conversations with many people about this conversation we just had, like the type of dialogue that we share. And me and nephew, we all the time, we are back all the time, and most of the people that come in this building, it's gonna be my nephew Zeke over there. Yeah. We always up top with it, always high, always going for the higher self and the higher level of overstanding.
Right.
I learned the other day that we don't want to understand, we want to overstand.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So. And being careful with the power of tongue as well. So the power of the tongue, along with the power of thought, is something. Can you elaborate on that real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, when the power of the tongue, again, the Bible has some good information in it, because they call the tongue a double-edged sword, and it's actually true. When you're speaking, you're casting a spell. That's why they call it spelling. Every time you speak. Matter of fact, when you're praying, you're trying to cast a spell. They may not want to admit it.
See?
But you're trying to change a future reality into your own favor by speaking these and uttering these words. The problem is that a lot of people don't understand how to speak and what to say. They say things that create what we call cymatic frequencies. That's what comes out of your vocal box across the tongue and creates undulations across the atmosphere, and that's what we pick up as sound. But that sound wave is combined with the conscious thought that's layered on top of it. You speak something, but a conscious thought goes along with it, and that emanates into this grid that we're on, this energetic grid called the universe. And in physics, they call it the membrane. And so this membrane, which is the universe, it takes this frequency and this conscious thought together, and it deciphers it. It can speak any information, any language, because it knows all, and it then mirrors it and sends it right back at you. So if you're speaking in a low frequency, I suck and he suck and I hate this dude and F this and da-da-da-da-da, the universe goes, oh, okay, that's what you like? Let's send that back. And here it comes, right back at you. And many I keep getting blindsided. I didn't see this one coming. I didn't see that one coming. And you just get in the mirror, and the more negative you are, the more negative stuff happens. You got a problem for every solution. But when you start speaking higher level, right? When you begin to speak power over your life, power over other people, when you start speaking positive affirmations over yourself and over others, all of a sudden the universe sees that and sends you back high frequency. All of a sudden you got connections, you got plugs, you got success. Everything's working out. All your bills are always paid. Abundance is guaranteed at this point, right? You never worry about anything anymore. Everything just looks like it's a sunny day every single day. Everything, even if it looks like it's bad, the solution comes so quickly, you don't have to even worry about it no more. That's because you're in a higher positive mindset and you're speaking positivity over everything. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, man, bless that person, man. They probably, their kid could have just got hurt in school, they're trying to get to them, or they could just be careless. But I hope they reach their destination safely. So you can send out your own blessings. You don't need God to send out a blessing because you're God. You can send a blessing out over somebody.
This is the sit down and the Fly Zone Radio Show on Shade 45. We want to thank our brother Billy Carson for stopping by and blessing us and gracing us with this information. So much of it. Please take it, watch it back. I don't care about the like, subscribe shit. Pay attention, listen, pay attention. Pull this information from this episode here in. Embrace it, because it is the truth. It is real. And man, I thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Bless you, man. Thank you so much.
You,
I hope bless is a good word.
That's a good word. It's a good word. You know, people just got to get this information. That's why we started our own TV network. We got people to go, get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app, go on there and watch content like this instead of watching the garbage that's out there.
So give them that information for the network.
Yeah, they can get the app on their app store, the 4 with the number 4, Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, Forbidden Knowledge TV app. It's on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, iOS App Store, Google Play Store, and the web, and even Samsung TV. Get the app, download it. There's over 3,000 episodes of content like this on there where you can just go binge watch positivity, uplifting information, learn about ancient civilizations, learn about who you are, be inspired, learn how to reprogram yourself. All that's on there. So instead of binge watching some crazy series, cracked out people
crashing cars.
Yeah, just go learn something. Take 2 days a week or something and just go on there and learn something. So they can sign up for that app for free, and they can sign up for 3 days, and they can binge watch as much as they want.
So it's 4, the number 4.
Yeah, Forbidden Knowledge .tv on the web, or there's the Forbidden Knowledge TV app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the book you mentioned, you released a book.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. What is the book? Fractal Holographic Universe, The Matrix Code Revealed. If they just go on Amazon, type in Billy Carson, they'll find all my books. Yeah, I have 4 books up there, all bestsellers. This book became a bestseller in Fractal Mathematics the first day, number 6 in Science and Philosophy, and number 7 in Quantum Theory.
Yeah. The Fly Zone Radio, Shade 45. Billy Carson, the sit down. I will see y'all next week. Amen.